What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with the Hasbro Star Wars Vintage Collection Market Update. There weren't a ton of really interesting items out there, but there was enough out there that I thought it was worth putting together a video in terms of the items that closed this weekend. And a few pre-sale comments I wanted to make as well. I wanted to start off first with the one that I get the most private messages about, and it continues to be VC102 Ahsoka. I'm not kidding. I probably get 25 to 30 messages a week about Ahsoka. Should I sell it? Is it going to go down more? And I am not the Nostradamus of little plastic dolls. I can promise you that much. So I have no idea what Ahsoka is going to do over the next 6 months. But there's a lot of folks out there that either have it and they paid a lot of money for it, or they're thinking about getting it to complete their TVC 1.0 collection. And for those of you who are new and don't understand what I'm saying when I say TVC 1.0, I'm referring to the first wave of vintage collection figures that Hasbro released from 2010 to 2012. And one of those was this one, VC102. It came towards the end of, that first wave of vintage collection items. And it was, I believe, an online exclusive, or it was very short packed. That box of figures that included like Prune Face and the Emperor's Royal Guard and a few others. It's just in general, there was not a lot of them produced. So as a result, combined with the fact that Ahsoka's already really popular from the Clone Wars, this one's gone up quite a bit. And now that Hasbro's announced the reissue, prices are plummeting, and they are coming down quick. A card back that in near mint condition that could sell for $700 to $800 ungraded has come back down a little bit. Now, this one sold yesterday, November 14th, in an auction. Now, it was punched, though, and there is a pretty big price disparity between punched and unpunched for not only all of these figures, but especially VC102 Ahsoka. Typically unpunched and in near mint condition. Again, there's only 2 photos for this sale or for this auction, so it's hard to tell really how clean it is. But it was punched. But typically the unpunched can go, in the past, $700 to $750 pretty easily. I've seen higher. And while punched had been closer to this price point. And this one, I'm actually think that given the lack of photos for this auction, it's really just 2 photos with Ahsoka in a star case. It didn't give you any kind of close-up or how the card was, but it did look really clean. But again, it's just 2 photos, so you don't really know for sure what you're getting. But it looked clean. It looked like an 85 or 85 plus. And it sold for $412 as of yesterday, which I think is, for a punched example of VC102, that shows me that the price is holding up pretty well. So I'm going to show you that one. And then the other one that sold was this one. This one was a graded unpunched example. That one was AFA 8.5. That one sold for $710. So I think that this price to me is a little lower than I expected. But given that it's coming down, we all know it's being reissued probably, mid next year. I'd say 6 months ago, even in an 8.5 grade, this was probably closer to $800, $900, maybe even pushing $1,000, maybe even above $1,000 6 months ago. I do remember a few 8.5 grades that were over, that eclipsed the $1,000 mark. So it has come down. Let's call it, it's come down probably 30 to 40% is my rough estimate of what it's done. Will it continue to go down? I don't know. How much of the pent-up demand for this original issue Ahsoka is going to wash their hands of it and say, no, thank you, I'm just going to get the reissue and be happy with it. And how much of that pent-up demand is seeing these new slightly lower prices and willing to go ahead and risk it, that it's not going to come down any further, or that it does, but they're willing to risk it right now. And that's what you saw, I think, with this sale. So $710 is kind of the new floor for an 8.5 grade item, and an unpunched. Now, how does that compare versus even just a little while ago, pre-announcement by Hasbro that Ahsoka was going to get reissued? Well, here's one that sold, and I apologize, I don't have the date in front of me. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, this one sold September 3rd, so it was before the announcement, obviously, by Hasbro that it was going to be reissued. This one was a 9.0 grade, so it's a slightly higher grade, so it's not exactly apples to apples, but it was unpunched again. But it was listed at $22.50, best offer accepted. So keep that in mind. Now, again, it's not apples to apples with an 8.5 to a 9, because there is a pretty big price disparity there. But $22.50 is pretty much the high water mark, and let's assume it sold for about $2,000. That's about the high water mark for the graded Ahsokas unpunched. The other one I wanted to show you is this one. This was a UKG 90, 95 unpunched US card. That one sold for Great British Pounds 1,500, and that one sold October 22nd. So again, pre-announcement by Hasbro, I believe that that they were going to be reissuing it. So this one was kind of right at the height of the market, 1,500 pounds. That equates to about, let's see, that's about it's about $2,000 US. So, $2,000 US is about the high point for Ahsoka. And I think it's going to come down from there. So now we're at $710 plus shipping for an 8.5. So again, slightly lower grade, but let's call it for a 9.0. It's probably been cut in half. It's probably held up a little bit better ungraded. So just keep all that in mind, and it's just data points for you to kind of make your own decision as to what you want to do. If you have one and you want to cut your losses, if you're buying it as an investment, or if you're looking to buy one, now's probably not a terrible time, just given the massive price drop since these prices of $2,000. A few others that sold. This is VC102, the mail-away Rocket Fett. This one looked to be in really nice shape. That one sold for $110. And then also a graded one sold. So again, we're doing the graded versus ungraded comparison. This was an uncirculated 8.5 archival case. Really nice example. That one sold for $234. You're probably pushing $350 to $400 if that was a 9.0 grade uncirculated. So there is a premium to go from a pretty big premium to go from an 8.5 to a 9 for the Rocket Fett. But that one's held its value really well. Now here's one that I came really close to bidding on last night, but I held my finger back from the mouse. I really wanted to bid on this. This was an uncirculated 90 Shea Vizsla, and I think it sold for a song. Personally, I would have paid more than that. I was thinking about bidding $400 for this one. So my gut says I probably would have won it. But anyway, it was a U90 Shea Vizsla expanded universe. Oh, it was just gorgeous. Had the Darth Maul offer. This is going to be one of those ones when I do a market update like 2 months from now, where I'm like, why didn't I buy that? Why didn't I buy that, John? But it's okay. It's okay. You can't have everything. That's what I'm trying to tell myself these days. But anyway, $320 for that is a great deal. Whoever got that, congratulations. I'm jealous. It was a steal of a deal in my opinion. Another one I looked at pretty hard. I decided not to, but this is the Commander Gree unpunched, really nice one. VC43. That one sold for $132.50. It was pretty close on my book to putting an offer in, but it looked like it had a store sticker on the back above the UPC code with some slight damage there. Very, very slight edge wear in the lower left hand corner, but it probably would be like an 85 grade, maybe 85 plus. But it had just enough edge wear that I decided I'm gonna be picky. I'm gonna be picky here and wait for an even cleaner one. So for those of you that have a really clean Commander Gree that's unpunched, and you see one that comes up that's really, really clean, please send me a private message so I can, because I don't always catch them all. But it's on my short list of ungraded TVC 1.0 that I want to get is Commander Gree. Commander Gree unpunched and VC17 General Grievous. Those are the two that I really would like to pick up, along with obviously Shea Vizsla. So, but anyway, $132.50. I thought it was a pretty good price for that one. A couple of Star Killers sold. That one continues to hold its value pretty well. It hit $250 and it's kind of come back down a little bit. Again, I wonder how much the market is thinking that with that Gaming Greats line that just came out, whether this is one that we see get reissued in a Gaming Greats, another, a second Gaming Greats wave next year. It seems like they do multiple waves, right? So they did a carbonized wave last year, then they had the new carbonized wave this year. They did the Retro Collection Mandalorian figures this spring, and then they just announced the Retro Collection Mandalorian Wave 2. They did a Gaming Greats Wave 1 this year, and I just feel like they're going to do a Gaming Greats Wave 2. It was pretty well received by the market, at least it was to me. I love them. I thought they're great. So I could see them doing a second wave of the Gaming Greats and having Star Killer on that card. It's a no-brainer because everyone's been clamoring for him anyway. But anyway, that one sold for $193.39. I think this one's a safe one to still buy, though, because as Boss Bounty and Obi-Wan Kenobi have pointed out, they're never going to do to my knowledge, they're not going to do an expanded universe card back. So like this one in the Republic Commando, some of those that show up on that expanded universe card back, I think they're safe to get even now, because they probably won't come down too much in price, only because it's a different card back. You know, it's going to be a totally different card back versus a Gaming Greats one. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it still brings the price down when they're reissued. The other one that sold looked to be in really nice unpunched condition. That one sold for $215 plus shipping. That was a buy it now situation, but that one looked really clean, really nice. This is one that I was watching. I was curious to see what it would do. It stayed really low for the longest time, and it jumped like, we'll look at the bid history in a second here, but it jumped like crazy at the very end. But this is another factory air miscard with the Rogue One Vader, but this time it was on the Beskar Mandalorian armor card back. You can see the really heavy wear up there, edge wear in the upper right hand side above the warning. So it did have some heavy wear. I think it was a Walmart buy, so you know how Walmart, or not Walmart, but Amazon buy, according to the seller. So it got beat up a little bit in the box, shipping box, but a really nice, rare miscard. We've seen the Mandalorian on the Rogue One card back, I believe. I'm going on memory. That one sold for like $1,600 or something crazy. So this one is the first time I think I've seen the Vader on the Mandalorian card back. So a really nice kind of rarity there. And so it's the second one of this miscard, but the figure and the card back is reversed. In other words, that one sold for $1,600 and change. It was a lot more mint than this one. This one sold for $1,043 or about $1,300 Canadian. But looking at the bid history, let's see if we can show. Yeah, so if you look at the bid history, it stayed at about $50 or $80, $100, $150, all the way up until the day of the auction ending, 184, 190 even. But it jumped from 212 in the last 30 seconds. It jumped from 212 Canadian all the way up to 1,311 Canadian. So it was a big high demand item that obviously people had some really big reserve price, really high bids inserted at the end, and it got very competitive. So congratulations. I know who won this one, and I want to give him some privacy, but I know who won it, and congratulations to him, because he's been really looking for a Darth Vader miscard on TVC miscard. So he was willing to pay out big money for it, and I'm glad he got it. Another one that sold for big money, and I think will always continue to sell for big money, is this one. That's the Canadian VC20 Yoda with the alternate ESB card back, and that one was listed for $16.99, best offer accepted. And I believe I know the seller. He had it listed briefly in the Deal or No Deal group, and I don't know what the final sales price was on eBay, but I think he was wanting about $1,400 or so on Deal or No Deal. So I'm assuming he got closer to $1,500 to account for eBay fees. But a really nice unpunched example, and towards the upper end of where they've been selling. I mean, it's not like he was trying to rip anybody off. That's where they've been selling for an unpunched VC20 Yoda Canadian. That's where they've been selling, is that $1,500, $1,600, even I think $1,700 range for an unpunched example. So congratulations to both the buyer and seller. A little bit different, but I wanted to show some of these Scout Walkers because the prices have been surprising me with not only this one, but the Mandalorian version. This is the Return of the Jedi Kmart exclusive Scout Walker, still mint and sealed box. It had just very light damage to the box, but really nice condition overall. That one sold for $137 on 26 bids. But this new one, the AT-ST Raider, has really jumped recently. I don't know if people have been noticing that, but this was a nice, really clean box. Great photos, so I think people were willing to pay up a little bit for this one. But this is a beauty here, and ooh, you know what? I didn't notice this at the bottom here, but had a little damage there at the bottom of the box. So even despite that damage on the bottom of the box there, which I didn't notice when I first looked at it. Yeah, here it is. He gives you a nice close-up, so props to the seller for showing the close-up of that damage. But even despite that, it still sold for $145 plus $10 shipping. So maybe I'm just clueless and I hadn't noticed that, but I didn't realize that the AT-ST had gone up that much. I always thought it was like $75, $80-ish, but maybe I'm just wishful thinking. But that price is consistent, though, because this seller still has 10 available, but he sold 26 of them already at $178 with free shipping. So that's another one that was surprising to me. I didn't realize that the AT-ST Raider with the Mandalorian box and the the Raider pack-in Klatooinian Raider, I can't pronounce it, had sold that high. But he sold 26 of these at $178 a piece. So big number there. Another one that was kind of surprising to me that someone sold the Vintage Collection STCC exclusive, the Dr. Aphra 3-pack. It was only the 2 droids. So somebody obviously was a loose collector, but only the 2 droids sold for $40 plus $5 shipping here in the US. I mean, you can get the whole box set sealed and, all the awesome artwork that includes it for about that price. Not much more than that. Maybe $10 more, $15 more. So that's one of those 3-packs that has not gone up in price, despite the fact that it is, I believe, an STCC exclusive. And these figures are just awesome. I mean, these 2 figures, I think, are just destined. They have got to be released on single card backs. I don't know why they have not, because the Black Series versions of these figures are very expensive. I mean, over $100 in some cases. So I would love to see those get reissued on exclusive card backs, or on single figure card backs. But they might be waiting for Dr. Aphra to finally make an appearance, live action, or have her own show, or make an appearance on The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett. She's a natural for all of those shows. The Book of Boba Fett, she's sort of a bounty hunter, reluctant, kind of bounty hunter type of person, and she could be on the Book of Boba Fett or the Mandalorian. So I really believe that she's coming sooner rather than later. And I bet both of those figures, obviously VC129, Dr. Aphra's already been released, but I think these 2 figures have got to be re-released on single card backs. While we're on the subject of 3-packs, I wanted to show this one again. This is the 501st Legion ARC Troopers, really clean box. That one sold for $150 plus $16 shipping, so $166. That's right in line with where we've looked at these in past market updates. $160 to $175, $180 is about the going rate for that one. Here's one you don't see often pop up. I couldn't tell, but it looked like, someone probably had this one in their garage, because it looks like the blisters for all 3 of these are yellowed, but I could be wrong on that. But this is one of those gigantic, I believe, Target exclusive special action figure sets where it's got 3 different 3-packs inside. A lot of wear to it, but again, it looked like it's probably been sitting in somebody's attic or somebody's closet, because it does have it looks like some yellow blisters there, but pretty cool item nonetheless. It was listed at $225 plus $25 shipping. I don't know how you ship that for $25. That's going to cost you a lot more than that with the inflation we're experiencing in the US. I can tell you that much. Shipping costs have gone up like 20 or 30%. It's crazy. A couple of pre-order items I wanted to talk about. The HasLab Razor Crest has really dropped. It's really dropped in price. As we get closer to the release date, maybe people that are starting to panic about, there's a fact that, a lot of these, they made 28,000 or whatever it was, 29,000 of these things. Is there going to be a flood of these coming on the market? And I've noticed that it got closer to $1,000 for this thing. And over the last month or so, it's really dropped back down again to $700 to $800. So, which again, still, that's a good price. That's still a good return for those of you who pre-ordered one. But just be cautious that they are starting to come down in price pretty quickly as we get closer to the release date for that bad boy. The Vintage Collection Target exclusive Droids figures have also been reselling and going, for about $35. So about whatever that is, about double retail price. So the exception to that is the Boba Fett. And this one has been selling consistently between $60 and $70. I'm not sure that this one's ever going to come back down again. This is one of those figures where, you might just have to bite the bullet. If you didn't get it, if you didn't pre-order it, you might just have to bite the bullet and pay the scalper prices. Me personally, I am going to wait, because I'd rather be able to choose my packaging and know I'm getting a really clean package. But I just think that this is one of those figures that 3 years from now, it's going to be $200. It's such an awesome card back that I can't imagine this thing not going for, certainly over $100 very shortly. So I think a lot of it will depend on the production numbers and things like that. But given that it's a Target exclusive, I can't imagine that the production numbers are significant relative to normal releases. And it's obviously just going to be extremely popular with collectors. So I would grab one sooner rather than later if you can, but I'll freely admit I'm not going to. I'm going to wait and just pay the scalper prices whenever one of these comes up. So anyway, just some useful information. I hope you guys found that interesting. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. And again, to all my Patreon supporters as well as my existing subscribers, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.